So I know about the Assetto Corsa early access. Like, I noticed a lot of people, like, there's a lot of videos, right? There's a lot of videos about it, like, what to expect, what, like, I did a video, like, what I expect from the early access. I saw a lot of other videos, which are basically, like, canceling already, like, some stuff. Not canceling, but, like, they are, like, don't buy it and stuff like that. And, yeah, I mean, like, I talked about it yesterday a lot on I had, like, a little call with Coach Dave, and we were talking about the ACO, and, like, I'm a bit like, I don't know how to say it. I feel like, okay, I think there's gonna be like a lot of people jumping into the game on Thursday to try, but I'm sure a lot of them will be gone within a week because they'll be waiting for the next part, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of people who don't like the early access, right? They don't agree with the early access and such. I personally also think that the early access, I don't know if there's a reason for early access. Like, I think maybe, like, okay, with ACC, when the early access happened, the early access helped to develop the game for better, right? The people gave the feedback, the people tell what they want from the sim, and so on, and they improved the game, right? So, like, I think the same thing might be happening with the ACO. The problem is, with the ACC, this was like 6 years ago, and everybody was very excited, and everyone was very into it. The problem is, the gamers and the players, like, in general, in the last 6 years, they changed a lot. Like, they changed a lot. And the one thing that actually happened, if you watch the gaming world, right, in the last couple of years, the people lost patience, the people got way more negative, and people got pissed at the studios and the developers, like, in general speaking as much, about the early access stuff and such. And you can, I personally noticed that, like, obviously, like, 6 years ago, I didn't even have a proper channel to notice anything like that with the ACC, but I noticed a lot on my Twitter and on my YouTube as well, with the comments under, like, AC EVO stuff. I also noticed on the other channels, which I checked, that, it's like 60% of the comments about AC EVO, like, or half of them at least, are, like, negative. So I'm so I'm a bit, like, worried and also not worried at the same time, because I know the game will be alright, but it might not be alright right now, but it will be alright in a year. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys get my point. Like, same with the ACC, right? Like, ACC, when it released, it was literally, like, it was this good, but it was shit, kinda. You know what I mean? Like, the base was good, the core was good, but the rest was shit. And then they fixed everything and made it really, really good. But it took, like, a year, right? And I think it's gonna be very similar with the AC EVO, that I noticed a lot of people are expecting way too much right at the start, and they, like, they kind of forgot or don't agree that it's like early access. Like, I feel like there's, like, people who see, oh, there's only 20 cars and 5 tracks, what a shit game, no multiplayer, what a shit game, oh, no GD3, oh, no F1, no prototypes, no blah, 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 what a shit game. But they don't realize it's early access, and in a year, it might be completely different, right? Or in a half a year, or 3 months, or 4 months, or stuff like that, right? So, like, that's really important, like, I noticed Rano Colstein released a video, like, to lower the expectations or stuff like that, right? Which kind of makes sense as well. Because, like, obviously, okay, we are very hyped about ACO, right? Everybody, like, I would say a lot of people in the sim racing are very hyped about ACO. The reason for it is very simple. AC1 is GOAT. ACC is really good as well. So, naturally, we expect ACO to be really good as well, right? So, I think it's very complicated, like, in general, you know? I think it's very complicated, but we will have to wait and see, guys, right? I'm personally, what I expect from my side with the early access, right on the release, I think I'm gonna play for like 1-2 days, maybe on a stream. I will probably release a couple of videos, maybe a lot, I don't know. And then I will be just waiting for the next update. Because that's exactly what I did with ACC and AC1, basically. So, I'm personally like, what I also expect, I'm having a little bet. I personally, guys, think, how many players do you guys think there's gonna be playing AC EVO on a release? Like, that day, or the next day at least. I personally think it's gonna be 15,000 peak players. That is my net. My number that I expect. I think personally it's gonna be around 15,000, maybe more, but I think it's gonna be like 15,000 people But I think within 2 weeks, it's gonna be like 1500. You know? Because there's gonna be not much to do, you know? But I think. But I think in the next update, it's gonna be coming back to people, and the next update is gonna be coming back to people, and so on. But like, as I said, guys, for me personally, like, I need a multiplayer to be able to work, you know? Like, I really need to work with the multiplayer, you know? So yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of people who say that the reason the early access exists is to support the developer to build the game, right? You basically, you contribute in early access, and then they can finish the game or stuff like that. I don't think the early access works like that with the AC EVO, because if you look at the sales of the AC1 and ACC, they made so much money that it should not be even a question in that, right? Like, compared to studios that are starting from scratch or something, you know? So, we'll see. You know? I'm very, very curious. How much fuel for 296? You need like 40... 42, 39 or stuff like that. So, like, it's not about the streamer, Stubby. Also, like, why need a multiplayer? Why need a multiplayer? It's very simple for me personally. There's a lot of people who don't need multiplayer, right? They just need a car and a track and AI, right? But it doesn't have to do anything with the being a streamer, or maybe a little bit. But like, I cannot play like a single player stuff. Like, I can play single player games with a story and stuff like that. Like in a I don't know, Horizon Zero Dawn or stuff like that. But I have to have a multiplayer for being able to play like any sim racing game, you know, basically. So I really hope they will release the multiplayer very soon. I don't need an endurance and full pack of multiplayer and full grid of a multiplayer, but I personally really hope we're gonna get a multiplayer which will be like what I would love to have is 16th January, release early access, single player, 2 cars, some driving school, right? And then within a month, or in a month, you get like a limited multiplayer, which would be, I don't know, 20 cars on track, 20-minute races, and you could just play. That's exactly what I would absolutely love to have, you know? That's what I would absolutely love to have, you know? And then in the future, obviously, open it more, 40 cars, 60 cars, 100 cars, whatever, you know? But that would be really, really awesome. But I hope it's gonna be something like that, you know? I hope it's gonna be something like that. Because I think the multiplayer is like, you know what, like for me personally, the multiplayer is also very important with the AC EVO regarding the AC1 and ACC. Because the AC1 on a release had a very average multiplayer and not very good netcode as well. It got better later, but it still like wasn't that very good. ACC on a release had a very bad multiplayer as well, and then it got much better, and then it also got endurance and stuff like that. And so for me personally, like the netcode and the online multiplayer is very important to have, you know? So we'll see. Any guesses on the price? I personally think it's gonna be like $40. Like maybe 50, but I think it's gonna be $40. Like, let's remember the ACC or AC1 prices were always quite good, right? So, yeah, we'll see, guys. We'll see. So, yeah, Pivas, but don't forget that AC1... Wait. Is it written on the internet? Give me a sec, guys. How many copies was sold Assetto Corsa? Assetto Corsa franchise has sold over 28 million units as of December 31st, 2022. Revenue for the franchise have exceeded 104 million euros since its inception in 2014. Right. Competizione sold 1.4 million copies. And Assetto Corsa 1 is like... Yeah, it's crazy. 28 globally, right? It's like... I don't know, like, I obviously don't know how many things cost, but like $112 million in revenue should make some money to develop the game, right? Like, I mean, like, in my amateur thinking, right? Like, you know what I mean? But I don't know, we'll see, yeah. Coinbase, really? Wait, do I have a Coinbase? Oh, I have a Coinbase, yeah. I mean, I bought some crypto like 6 years ago. Do you think if you buy early access, we will need to buy it on a full release? No, I don't, no. I'm like, that's how it was with the ACC, right? If you bought the early access, you got the full game. And you got all the content until the release, basically. That's right? Do I remember correctly, guys? Do you guys remember? If I remember correctly, Assetto Corsa Early Access, you bought it. I can't remember the price, but you bought it. And then for like a year, you were getting every single update. And then they released the game. And then, like, a couple of months later, they released a DLC or stuff like that. If I remember correctly with this. And that you had to buy, basically. But, you know, like the... Like... It wasn't like Le Mans Ultimate. It wasn't like Le Mans Ultimate, for example. Like... But who knows? They might change. Who knows, right? Like, maybe... Yeah. We'll see. I mean, that's the logic I always have with a game, right? That's why I was pissed about... That's why I don't like about Le Mans Ultimate. Is that... You basically buy the game and then you buy all the DLCs during the early access, and that's, I don't agree with that, right? But then you have games like my addiction right now, Path of Exile 2, which is early access as well. It's gonna be free to play when it's releasing, but now you can buy it, so you can play it, which I did, and then basically the game is like, hey, your stash is full, right? Hey, click here, $20, you know? And, you know? So, I think there are way worse things than Le Mans Ultimate, you know? I think there's way worse things than Le Mans Ultimate's business model, to be fair. But, yeah. But, yeah. So, what do you guys think, by the way? Are you guys positive? Or, guys, okay. I want to ask in the chat properly, regarding the Assetto Corsa EVO, I would like to ask a question, something like, are you guys hyped about the early access release, but are you also looking more forward for or are you also are you negative about it, or are you looking forward for the future, or something like that, because I noticed, I was reading comments on my YouTube, on the Twitter, on a random call sign, and one other guy, I don't want to mention, and they basically were there was a lot of comments, and basically people are like, oh, I don't care about the early access, it's shit, it doesn't have this, I wanted this, and it's not there, it's shit, and comments like that, and a lot of I don't want to pay for unfinished product, you know, and stuff like that, you know. We gotta drive, don't worry. I'm afraid that the open world will be too arcadey. No, I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think it's gonna be that much. Personally, I'm really excited about the AC EVO. I cannot wait to play it on a Thursday. I'm just a little worried that I will spend maybe a week with the game, and then I will have to wait for next part. That's basically what I expect. And I don't want to be waiting. I don't want to be waiting. But, yeah. I got also a little sad. I also understand it though. Guys, by the way, did you notice there's 20 cars releasing with early access on the day release, and none of them is GT3 car, and none of them is a prototype, and none of them is a Formula. I'm gonna be honest, I was really hoping for maybe one GT3 and one Formula car. Or something like that, not Formula 1, but like Formula 3 or something. I was really hoping for one of those options. I understand the GT3. I understand why they didn't put the GT3. I think the reason why they did not put a GT3 car in an AC EVO is, I think the one reason why is they don't want to kill or hurt ACC before it's too early, you know? They want to do it later, you know? There's a GT3 Cup car. It's a GT3 Cup car. It's the same one that we have in a game, which is a car with no TC, but with ABS, because we had it in a Sim Expo. It's exactly the same car. Yes, it's okay that you will know at least how the car handles, but it's still different than GT3, you know? It's still not GT3. We have a GT2 Merc, which is quite good to have, but again, GT2 is a bit more different than GT3. But I think the GT2 Merc is I think the GT2 Merc is better to have than the Cup car, to be fair. Because it has ABS and TC. So we're gonna be able to determine how it works and what is the GT3 gonna be up, you know? So, we'll see. But it's all, again, different suspension. Yeah, you're right, Matheus. Absolutely right, yeah. Not excited for AC Evo at all. Kunos made some questionable decisions with ACC and then left our sore taste. Still gonna buy it if the review alright. I agree, also don't agree. I agree, like, with the ACC, the Kunos didn't do anything questionable, in my opinion. They did the early access, then they released, like, a multiplayer, and then they released the full game, and they went... It was like No Man's Sky, from okay game to, like, epic game, right, on a release. In the first 2 years, they were doing amazing DLCs, amazing updates, and really working on the game really well. And then in the last 2 years, they basically abandoned the game, kinda. And especially in the last year, right? In the last 365 days, they completely abandoned the game. Or, I'm sorry, not 365 days, since April, they abandoned the game, right? But, and obviously the 1.9 update wasn't that good and stuff like that. But they still, like, I don't think they, like, did questionable stuff, to be fair. I think it was, like, quite alright. To be fair, I think, you know? But the only bad thing they did is they completely abandoned the game since April. But considering they are, like, very small team that is working on a new game, you can understand it, but obviously I absolutely understand what you mean, because I am one of the most vocal people. I'm one of the most vocal people for last 4 years, because the one thing, what I keep saying, guys, what I keep saying, I want ACC to be the best version of itself, and I keep saying that for last 5 years, and people hated me for that, but it's literally what I was keep saying. But guys, I'm very excited about AC Evo. Let's see what's gonna happen. I think the driving and the tires will be really good, but then for the rest we will have to wait, so, you know, it is what it is, you know, so we'll see. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Let's go, let's do some racing, let's do some racing.